Can you ever really feel good in your body? I'll be honest, I have asked myself this before, and it's something that I get asked a lot. Especially recently, I've been on more podcasts as a guest, and this is a question that continually comes up because it seems like such this big goal to feel body confident and to be able to reverse all these years of body shaming or not wanting to look in the mirror, always trying to change the way that we look. It seems like this dream. And so, what I want to do for you in this episode is really help you get there, to sort out all the crap that is stopping you from feeling comfortable in your body. And if you feel good in it, to help you through those rough days, because we know they are still there. But let's open first with a way for you to visualize how you are treating your body and why it's so hard to accept it. I want you to close your eyes if you can. If you can't, just think about this. Imagine a messy room. There's clutter everywhere. It hasn't been dusted. There's so much stuff in there. You can't find anything. The things that are there are really triggering. Maybe they're related to someone who you lost, a breakup. It's just not a fun place to be. You want to avoid that room. You don't want to go in. That room is your body. And most of us treat our bodies the same way we treat a messy room. We avoid it. We throw stuff in there. We don't try to clear it up and figure out what's the real problem. And all we want, what we've been sold and told, is that one big, huge throw out can work, which is essentially a diet or a crash exercise program. If I just do this one big effort, I can haul everything out and my room will be clean and I will be happy. But as you know, all that clutter comes right back. And it's the same thing with the diets. So visualize that. As we're going through this episode, think about that messy room. Think about the objects and the memories that are triggering, that you are hiding, that you're shoving under the bed, that you're not looking at, because answers lie there. I'll talk about with you what are some of the habits and the thoughts that are in this room so you can recognize if you are doing them, because that is the biggest step to getting through to body acceptance and then confidence. First, I want to share with you a little story. I don't like shopping for clothes. I think a lot of women feel this way because none of them ever fit me. I'm short, have a wider lower body, and so most clothing in the US and UK in particular does not fit me. And while I've worked through a lot of the body image issues, I can go in and try something, and if it doesn't fit, it's okay. It's still not a great experience for me. And I say all this because this is why it took me years to decide to finally replace my jeans. I finally said, okay, it's time to replace these jeans. It's been years. And I go into the store and I have an idea of what I think my jean size is. Tell the attendant, he gives me a pair of jeans. I take them back to the changing room, go to put on these jeans, and they come up just above my knees. Fine. He gives me the next size. I go in. These ones come up to mid-thigh. At this point in the past, before I had really healed my body image issues, I would have probably walked out. I wouldn't have stayed. But I need these jeans, and I've done that stuff. I've done that inner work. I get a third pair, but it's a little tight, and I have a choice. I can keep this pair, which make my ego feel a little better, or I can go for the next size up. Keeping in mind, no one is going to know the size tag but me. People only see the fit. They don't see the size. And so I decide, okay, I'm going to get the next pair up, go for a fourth time. Fourth time, they fit. And I share this experience because I know you have had it. And maybe you felt okay about your body, or maybe you didn't, but you walked out of that changing room and you felt worse. If I had not done the work I'm about to teach you right now, I don't know that I could have stayed long enough to get a size that fit. I also decided I'm not going to go to that store again because clearly it's not made for my body type. But if I go into what is the inner work that let me go up 4 sizes and be okay. If we go back to that messy room, where does the clutter come from? It's the habits and thoughts I'm about to share with you. First, we have the halo effect. The tendency we have to see someone who's attractive, has the body type we like, and to associate good qualities with them. Life is good for them. You see that and you want that naturally. So notice if you start to do that first. If you're walking around and you see someone and you think how great their life must be because of how they look, recognize it. The next one is something we really struggle with that can be painful, and that is cognitive dissonance. Separation, or the difference between what we think, our perception of something, and the reality. And the hardest one is when our body doesn't fit our ideal. And how do we fix it? We try to fix our bodies through more exercise, food, whatever we can, to make it so that that ideal and what we are overlap more. Because when they don't, we feel this shame, we feel this lack of confidence, this low self-esteem. Recognize if you see that, if you are continually looking at yourself and your ideal and seeing the separation. I have that episode, which I will include in the show notes. Forget your dream body. Not giving up on health, okay? To not throw that at me is not giving up on health. It's giving up on the need to be perfect. You don't need to be perfect. No one is perfect. Even the person you think who is perfect has their own inner turmoil. Halo effect, remember? Related to this, we have the confirmation bias. This is when you notice things that confirm what you already think. So if I already think that my body is not good enough, that people don't find me attractive, if I already think that, I'm going to search for proof that that's the case. And I'm going to ignore anything to the opposite. This is why you will always hear criticism more powerfully than compliments, because of your confirmation bias. Notice if you do this. When people compliment you, do you just shrug it off? When people criticize you, do you hold it in? This is some of the clutter. The next one is habit formation. So when we form habits around our low self-esteem or low body confidence, it's very subtle things that we don't even recognize. And I'm going to give you some examples. Think about if you ever do this. It's continually walking by a mirror and body checking. Not, oh, I look good, but look at that. Ooh, were my thighs really this big? Was that belly there before? It's looking at a photo. Did I have those wrinkles? All of these things are habits that you have developed that reinforce a lower self-esteem and body confidence. It's also saying things. It's saying things like, I really shouldn't eat this because. Think about how many times you do that. If we talk about rewiring the brain through repetitive actions, you are reinforcing what when you're continually criticizing yourself? One of the big ones that we fall into, a mindset or behavior, is self-objectification, and this contributes powerfully to low self-esteem. It's the idea that you are an object and your value is based on how you look. It's ignoring your capabilities, it's ignoring your background, it's ignoring who you are, and only focusing on that physical, which means everything you will do, every action you take, every comment you get, you will evaluate based on this. You can see how this can powerfully bring you down. Notice if you are objectifying yourself. Now, our last two are ones you will powerfully recognize. It's our reward system and control. So we'll start with the reward system. It's very hard. The reason why it's very hard to shed this idea of what a perfect body is because we are rewarded every single day that we are closer to the social ideal. So every time you lose weight, every time you show more muscle, you will be rewarded with compliments, approval treatment. And that creates a very addictive cycle, because what happens when you don't get it? You put the weight on. You are not working out as much. You lose those compliments. You don't hear them as much. And therefore, it becomes like this huge mental drain. So notice if this is you. Are you really hooked on getting these compliments? Because the first step away from that is to change where you place your value on yourself and stop depending on external validation. Stop depending on other people saying you're good enough. Stop forcing yourself into a mold that, quite honestly, even if you get there, does not guarantee you will be happy. I will sometimes, even recently, someone said to me, you look great. You look like you lost weight. And I was so happy because that no longer makes me feel great hearing that comment. That no longer makes my day. It was just a statement, like someone saying, oh, you grew your hair longer. Getting away from this external validation really means a lot. Knowing that I'm comfortable in my body and I don't need someone else to say it, it means a lot. I'm not, again, saying to not focus on health. And I know that some people will take it that way, but I do not mean that. I'm a huge advocate, if you've listened to this podcast enough, of nourishing your body with food you eat, of moving, but I am not an advocate of shame. It does not make a person feel good, and it sabotages a lot of the healthy habits, like the exercise. So it's finding that separation, a validation, and even what you think health might be. Now, the last one is control. Control is when we feel like we don't have it in our lives. Maybe from childhood, maybe we struggled surviving, maybe we struggled with money, or maybe now we don't feel like we have any power in our lives. The easiest way to find control is with food and fitness. And that is where so many people go and get obsessed. Because if I can count this food to the very calorie, if I can count how much I weigh every day and step on that scale, I have a feeling of control. When you are obsessing because it's a way for you to have control and not to figure out what is in food, it is not healthy. And anyone who says so is often struggling with the same thing. You can have these habits without being so nitpicky about every single bit of it. And it starts with thinking about, where in my life do I feel like I'm not in control? Because that's why I'm compensating. I did this. I felt very much growing up in my childhood that I was disempowered, that I was really struggling, that we always had issues with money and things being unpredictable. And so the easiest way for me to control was, first, my grades. I will always get straight A's. I will always do this. But then it was with my food. And notice the difficulty here is both those behaviors are praised, reward system, by society. And so it's very hard to separate what is healthy behavior and what is obsession. That's something for you to look at, and it's very much linked to how they make you feel. Does exercising make you feel good, or does it make you feel like it's punishment, or if you don't do it, something horrible is going to happen? All of these behaviors, this is the clutter in the room. And what we need to do is go through it. This is also why I'm not a huge advocate of just doing affirmations, because it's like having this messy room and you buy something really nice that you love and you put it in the messy room. Yes, the room feels better, but there's still so much clutter in it, and it's still not a great place to be. And it is the same way with your body. So yes, do the affirmations. I feel powerful in my body. I accept my body. I don't need it to be this way. All of that's valuable. But you really have to Marie Kondo this stuff, okay? We got to go through in 3 steps. We're going to go through your clutter, and you are first going to identify, what are the things in my room, my body memories, that make me feel like crap? What are the things that were said to me, the beliefs I hold? Which ones? Did someone you really respect say something about your body? Is there an assumption that you have that you will be loved more if you look differently? What are the things we've talked about that you do day to day, the body checking. What is it in this room that does not feel good? Then you move on to evaluate. Step 2. Do I really need to keep this here, or can I let it go? Some memories and things you will want to keep. They can have mixed emotions around them. For those ones, the key is separating the emotions, not letting them bring you down so much, not fixating on them. But for the ones that don't matter, letting it go. And then lastly, reorganizing. Thinking differently about the thoughts, the habits you're going to have, the way that you interact with others, with yourself. That is where you get this integration, where you really start to feel better in your body. And then we want to be honest and say, this is a lifetime journey. So it's not just you organize the room once, it's you have to always be aware of what you're putting in it. It's regularly looking out for that mental clutter. It's also regularly doing cleanups. Mental cleanups are things like breath work, reflection, therapy, all of that stuff where you are going inside that room and looking at what have I put in here that is really just bringing me down and that I can remove. If you do this, you will get to a point where you can go into the changing room and have things not fit 3 times and not have it lower your confidence or the way you think about your body. You can get to the point where you will see yourself age and your body change and not have it bring you down. You can also get to the point where when you exercise, when you eat certain foods, it is not about trying to change to be something else, but to really appreciate who you are right now. It is possible. It is hard, but this is the work. Please send this to anyone in your life who you think might really benefit, that you see how amazing they are, but they are struggling with their self-image, with their body. Let them see that they can work through it. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate every single time that you show up and hear these words. You review whatever you're doing to build this message. I'll see you in the next one.